Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive. Today, we're ditching the grammar textbooks and vocabulary lists.
And taking a look at something even more basic.
Those building blocks of
The
language.
sounds themselves.
Yeah, we all know our ABCs, right?
Right.
But how often do we actually think about how we pronounce those letters when we're learning a new language?
It's funny how often those basics get overlooked.
Yeah, for sure.
But honestly, how we learn to produce those sounds,
Fun.
those individual sounds, it really does have a ripple effect on everything.
I can see that.
From understanding conversations to even like boosting your confidence in writing.
So it's more than just like sounding nice when you speak. There are deeper implications here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You know, if you mispronounce even one letter, it can totally change a word's meaning, leading to those classic misunderstandings.
Oh, totally.
And it's not just about, sounding like a native speaker or whatever. It's about clarity and being understood. And it goes even beyond spoken conversations.
Really? How
Right.
so?
Because mastering those sounds, it's like unlocking the secret level in language learning,
Okay.
especially when it comes to reading and writing.
I can see that. Yeah.
When you can confidently hear and then reproduce those sounds, decoding new words, it's a breeze.
Makes sense.
And that same confidence, that spills over into your writing too.
Oh, that's a really good point.
If you're not sure how to pronounce a word, how confident you can be spelling it.
That's so true. I'd never even thought about it like that before. But it's so true. So we're setting ourselves up for success across the board if we can really nail those individual sounds early on.
Exactly. And it's not even just memorization either. There's actual like brain power at work here.
Oh,
Learning those sounds, what we call phonemic awareness, it literally changes how our brains process language.
brain changes. Okay, now you've got my attention.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this phonemic awareness.
So it's basically your brain's ability to hear,
Hmm.
identify, and manipulate individual sounds within words.
Okay.
It's like cross-training for your brain. It strengthens those neural pathways
Uh-huh.
that are responsible for language processing.
So we're building like a mental gym specifically for this new language.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And there's some fascinating research that backs this up. There was a study by Goswami. They found that children who struggled to distinguish individual sounds in words, they also had a harder time learning to read,
Wow.
which just highlights how crucial this skill really is for your language journey as well.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like if we focus on sounds early on, we're really giving ourselves a head start.
That's a great way to put it.
That's powerful stuff. But where do we even begin?
Well, there's this other study by Callan.
Okay.
They actually looked at the neural pathways involved in language learning,
Mm-hmm.
and they found that focusing on sounds early on strengthens those pathways. It's like you're building
Yeah,
a mental superhighway
I like that.
for all those new words and grammar rules you'll encounter later on.
So we're paving the way for smoother learning down the road by really focusing on sounds now.
Exactly. And the good news is there are some really effective techniques out there to help you do just that.
Okay, good, because I need all the help I can get.
One common tool, although it can seem a bit intimidating at first,
Yeah?
is the phonetic chart.
Oh, yeah, the phonetic chart.
Yeah.
It's true, though. Those symbols can feel like a secret code sometimes.
You don't have to become a linguist overnight, right?
Right.
Start with something like the IPA.
The International Phonetic Alphabet.
Exactly.
Okay.
Take it slow. Focus on one section at a time. And just practice those sounds
Yeah.
until they feel comfortable.
Okay, that seems manageable.
Think of it like learning the musical notes before you try to play an instrument.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
And speaking of practice, repetition seems key here.
Oh, absolutely.
Are there any fun ways to make that more engaging than just flashcards?
For sure. Tongue twisters are a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, repeating phrases like, she sells seashells by the seashore. Might sound silly,
It does.
but it really trains the muscles that we use for speech.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it's like a workout for your mouth.
So we're training our brains and our mouths to master these sounds.
Exactly.
I love it. And hey, if a silly voice helps it stick, I'm all for it.
Exactly. Make it fun, make it memorable, and if you enjoy like that instant feedback, language learning apps like Duolingo or Rosetta Stone can be really helpful for this too.
Yeah, tech definitely has its place.
For sure.
Though I imagine you'd still emphasize active practice over just like passively listening with those apps.
Oh, 100%. Don't just let the app voices wash over you. Really try to mimic the sounds,
Yeah.
even if it feels a bit awkward at first.
Yeah, that's good advice.
And beyond like those more structured techniques, don't be afraid to get creative.
Creative pronunciation practice. What do you have in mind? Creative pronunciation practice. I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
So one really powerful technique is linking sounds with images.
Oh.
So for
Mm.
instance, every time you practice the A sound, visualize an apple.
Oh, that's clever. It's like creating these mental flashcards that engage multiple senses.
Exactly. You can even make it playful. What about picturing a buzzing bee for the B sound?
Oh, I love it. Or a cat stretching for the C sound.
There you go.
Yeah. The sillier the better, I think, because the more senses we can get involved, the more those sounds are really going to stick.
Right. And ultimately,
Mhm.
it's not just about, the mechanics of pronunciation.
Right.
It's about the confidence that it builds.
Confident. Okay, so how does pronunciation impact our confidence in a new language?
Well, think about it. When you're confident in your pronunciation, you're more likely to speak up, engage in conversations, and really immerse yourself in the language.
That makes
That
sense.
confidence, it spills over into every other aspect of your language learning journey.
So it's like we're building this foundation of confidence brick by sound. That supports everything else we learn.
Precisely.
I like it.
It's like that feeling you get when you finally nail a difficult yoga pose or master a challenging recipe.
Yeah.
That sense of accomplishment, that fuels you to keep going.
It's so true. That sense of, I can do this, can be so motivating when you're learning something new. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
We've explored why pronunciation is so important, how it literally rewires our brains,
Yeah.
and we even discovered some fun and creative techniques for mastering those sounds.
We did.
Before we wrap up, I'd love for our listeners to take a moment to reflect. Of all the techniques we discussed today, which one resonated with you the most? Which are you most excited to try out in your own language learning journey? Because at the end of the day, the best technique is the one that works for you.
Couldn't agree more. And, all this talk about how learning new sounds changes our brains, it makes you wonder
Yeah.
if mastering pronunciation has such a profound impact. What does that mean for other skills we learn throughout life?
That's a great question.
Could this idea of phonemic awareness, this mental flexibility, extend beyond language? It's something to ponder, isn't it?
It is. It seems like every deep dive we do just opens up more avenues. For exploration and discovery, a huge thank you to you for guiding us through this fascinating topic today, and an even bigger thank you to you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey of lifelong learning. Until next time, happy practicing.